Looking forward with Ryan Hughes.
Ryan Hughes.
It's up to Rhino to answer this challenge.
Your leader, Ryan Hughes, 105. Hughes on the inside. Hughes on the inside, though, trying to get a run at
Ryan
him.
Hughes has got a problem with the bike. He's trying to push it to the line. Rhino is off the track. You can't pass him.
Oh, and Ryan Hughes goes in, makes contact. Ryan Hughes is on the charge. So Hughes goes right into first place, round into second.
Ryan Hughes. There he is, the Rhino himself out of Escondido, California.
But look at it, here comes Hughes one more time.
And Ryan Hughes makes his way. He's got a problem.
Looking forward with Ryan Hughes. Only on Big 49.
And we are live with Ryan Hughes. That's me.
Yes.
How are you, my friend?
I am
Again.
here. I'm present and accounted for on
I
this.
like it. I like it.
I don't know how we all can kind of cope with this heat, because every year it seems like it surprises me, but you're right. We're in the middle of it.
We're
It's
in
the
it.
same thing that happens every year.
Yeah, but the thing, it's called summertime.
It
You
is.
know?
It is called
It's called
summertime.
summertime. It happens all around the world, and it's happening back east. So there's nothing new. When I was a kid, I think the world was just getting softer.
You think?
You know, I think humanity's just getting softer, and now it's like, oh my God, it's hot. Just like in the winter, oh my God, it's cold. You know, but it's
You're
part
right.
of the game. You know what I mean? So in the heat, there's cool things you can do. You can go to the river, you can go to the beach, and you get naked. So why not?
Once again, all good ideas on a
Yes,
day like today.
yes.
And if you hear noise in the background, it's because we have the air conditioner on in the studio, because it's so warm outside right now.
Yeah.
So last week we talked about technique. We ended the show and you mentioned something about you could talk for days about technique.
Well, yeah, I could talk for days about technique because I changed the sport with technique. Every trainer on earth that's teaching motocross is teaching what I brought in 12 years ago, you know, about the toes, the hips, the back, the arms, all these different things. So, yeah, I can talk about it all day. But again, you know, technique creates speed. Fitness does not create speed. Fitness creates speed for a duration of time. It's technique, how you ride the motorcycle, how efficient you are, and the more efficient you are, the fitter you are, because you're using less energy.
Okay.
So that's the biggest thing about riding these motorcycles properly now. And like I've talked about before, it's not so much fitness nowadays. It's about riding these motorcycles properly. That's how you go fast on these bikes, because you can't override them. And when you override them, then you actually go slower. So that's why you see Jet not overriding it, and you see Sexton maybe overriding it because I think thinks he needs to go faster. And it's not going faster. It's just being more maybe precise for a longer duration of time. And, you know, I'm not going to give Sexton any tips because, you know, he's one of the best in the world. Just that's what I see. It's almost like he wants to win so much and that he thinks he needs to go just that little bit faster to beat Jet instead of maybe just hanging on with Jet and pushing Jet, you know, and then finding that spot to pass him and then just riding his race, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, that's the thing is that's what I always speak about, you know, the motorcycle's winning the race, but what's riding the motorcycle is you. And how you ride the motorcycle is what's making the motorcycle go fast, right? So, yeah, we can talk about many different parts of it, but that's, you know, kind of
So you did a video not too long ago about technique and rider placement on the motorcycle itself. And I noticed something about, you were talking about hips and separating yourself from your torso, from your top to your bottom.
Yeah.
And that way you could let the motorcycle work underneath you in a fluid fashion versus if you walk to the bike with a very rigid approach.
Well, if you look at a motorcycle, it's one, but it's two. It has a front end and has a rear end.
Yep.
They're attached, but they work opposite.
Yep.
And if you did not have that, you would not ride a motorcycle properly. Excuse me, you would not be able to ride it to its true potential.
Yeah.
You'd be able to go in a straight line, get off the motorcycle, turn it around, and go in a straight line. Motocross wouldn't be that cool. So the body, you can't have the mechanism on top of the motorcycle, which is the body, doing something opposite.
Yep.
So you have to have the same thing, and the body does have the same thing. You can split it, so to speak, by rotating your hips out, because now they will work opposite. You can go back and forth, right? But if I round and I hunch, well, then that's like I've locked myself up, like I've welded the front end of the motorcycle to the rear end of the motorcycle, and now there's no movement. So if you look at any other sport, if I put myself in that position in a batter's box, in a golf swing, in a gym,
Yep.
you know, in a fighting stance, you know, you can ride a bicycle, you can ride a horse, you can ride all that. That is the strongest position. And again, you know, what do you do? The first thing in the morning you do, everybody pretty much takes a dump the first thing in the morning. What do? You rotate your hips out to sit on the toilet. You don't bring your knees forward. You don't tuck your butt or round your back to get in on it. So, you know what I mean? So it's a functional movement. It's a functional idea.
Okay.
And so our sport was just kind of, I guess, unaware of it, and just brought in this hunching, this tucking thing. And so to me, it was like, where did that come from? And so I see when people first start to ride a motorcycle, they don't know how to ride it. Well, what's in their mind? Oh, shit. You know, they know they could crash. They know it's maybe dangerous. They know it's scary. So anything that you're afraid of, what are you going to do? You're going to flatten your feet. You're going to flatten your feet up. You're going to tuck your butt, round your back, and be ready for what you don't know that's coming up because you don't have the skill to ride this motorcycle yet. You haven't been taught right. So if you're going to do something that you don't know how to do and it has a consequence like motocross, you're going to get into this kind of protective, scared, fetal position.
Yeah.
Just like when your dad yells at you and about ready to beat you, what you do? You hunker down, right? If you yell at a dog, what to do? It tucks its tail.
Yep.
So it's the same thing. So when I can teach somebody to ride a motorcycle the first time correctly, they never, ever, ever bring that position into them. Ever. And another thing is a woman will never never do anything they don't know how to do well, right? A man just goes because they have big egos and go, oh, my buddy Johnny can do it. Well, fuck, I can do it.
Yeah.
A woman will never do it. So I see women with better technique naturally than men. You know what I mean? And so, because maybe, I don't know, I've seen it. Or they're just used to rotating their hips out. I don't know.
It could be a little bit of that.
Could be a little bit of both. But, you know, that's the thing. And so when I brought that into motocross, everybody was like, oh, Rhino and hips and tuck the hips and rotate the hips and gave me a bunch of shit. Well, now there's not a person on earth that's riding or winning that isn't doing that.
Yeah.
Because you have to have that. When you rotate your hips out, you separate the body, the lower body from the upper body. So from your hips to your feet are for the rear end of the motorcycle. From your hips to your head are for the front end of the motorcycle. Now, when I tuck my butt or round my back, now my lower body's going forward, my upper body's going backwards. And so I'm opposite. And you're taking weight away from the wheels, and you're always in a constant pull because when you give the gas, the motorcycle's going forward, but my upper body's going backwards. So you're always in a constant pull, constant pull, constant pull. You're almost reacting to everything. The technique that I'm putting everybody in is now initiating everything because your upper body is going forward with the twist of the gas, right? And now if the three most important things in motocross is keeping your head still, your chest directed the way you want, and loose arms, right? So if my hips are rotated out and that back end swaps side to side, my head stays still, my chest is directed the way I want, and my arms are loose. If I tuck my butt, round my back, and now that bike goes side to side, my upper body is counterbalancing the other side. So if my head moves, my body moves. If my chest is directed to the left and I want to go straight, we got a fucking problem.
Yeah.
And if my arms are tight from always pulling up, then I'm exaggerating everything this motorcycle is doing. That's why you see the guy who's winning has the loosest arms. The two guys that are winning right now have the best technique in their class, and that's Jet Lawrence, best technique in his class. Hayden Deegan, best technique in his class. And again, who taught Hayden? Me. He used to wear a neck brace. His knees would go forward, and his problem was coming into corners. He was really, really slow coming into corners, and I battled his dad about taking that damn neck brace off. And because when those neck braces, you have to almost go flat-footed, put your knees in front of your shoulders, and bring your upper body back so you can see up.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
So he was having problems coming into corners where he'd get kicked or he was going slow into them. So finally, Brian said, okay, we're going to take it off. And he took it off, and then, boom, instantly Hayden started just, started just progressing with the speed, and everything started to come into play because he could get into the position to allow more speed. You know, again, your speed is only good as your technique allows. His technique couldn't handle any more speed because anytime he went past what his technique could handle, he made a mistake or he crashed.
Yeah.
So that's where he learned all that from, and that was back probably 7 years ago or something like that when I worked with him for a while. And I completely changed his technique, and now he rides that way. You know, I have a DVD that came out 2010. You know, functional technique. It's you know, that's my stamp. And now anybody on earth is teaching that. So that's where I've kind of lost a little bit of interest in all that, is because everybody on earth is teaching what I've been teaching. So where do I stand out? And I want to, with my coaching, I want to stand out. I want to make sure that I'm looking forward, keeping going with progression with the sport. So what's next for me? What I want to maybe focus on, of course, is lifestyle.
Yeah.
And then also the mind. Because that's where so many riders are going wrong, is they have a very weak mind and their mind is too scattered.
Okay. I was going to ask you, is that one of the biggest problems that you notice when riders are going through whoops and they get crossed up? They're not fluid enough?
Well, it's, going through whoops, it's not your commitment. It's rotating your hips out first.
Yep.
So in motocross, the biggest thing is always initiating at the hips first. Anytime that I gas it, I initiate at the hips. Anytime I land, initiate at the hips. Anytime that I jump, initiate at the hips. Anytime I go through whoops, rollers, into a corner, out of a corner, off a start, I initiate at the hips, because then that's putting you in that strong, stable, coordinated, efficient position. Because when you tuck your butt and round your back, you take your core out. Your core is your chassis. These 4 extremities are attached to your core.
Yep.
Your core reacts a couple hundred of seconds before your extremities react. There's 8 different parts of your core. That means there's 8 different brains.
Yep.
And so that's a very intelligent part. And if you're not using that intelligence, well, then everything's coming out into your arms. You know what I mean?
Got it.
But things are happening too fast now to only be controlled by just your arms. Maybe back in the 125 days, you could get away with it. But if you took somebody that rides the way they do now, back in the 80s and 90s, they would destroy everybody because of the technique. Because they're so much more efficient. They can get away with more. You know what I mean? They're putting more weight to the rear end. They're getting more traction. They're going to stay away from crashes. They're going to stay away from mistakes more. And so
just because the technique they're using on the motorcycle itself.
Yeah, and because I've after I changed the technique and I rode 4 strokes, I have gone back and rode in 2 strokes. I didn't go back to tucking and rounding. I used my technique, and it was like, holy shit, how did I ever crash on these things? And I was like, how do I ever crash on these things?
Yeah.
And it was because I was doing it incorrectly, And so that's the biggest thing is, right when you enter the whoops, you want to rotate those hips out, because what's the first thing that happens? That bike kicks up. If that bike kicks up, your hips go up and down and they go side to side.
Yeah.
So you're allowing the back end to go side to side, kick up and down, but your upper body, your head, your chest, and your arms are still straight and loose.
Yeah.
But once I tuck and round and that bike kicks up, well, I got to push back. Once the bike goes sideways and my upper body goes sideways, well, I got to tighten up my arms and hang on. And then now I'm starting to exaggerate everything. That little bobble turned into now a mistake. That mistake now turned into a crash.
Yeah.
Which you could get away with because you're more efficient on the motorcycle. So, yeah.
It's interesting how when I saw you do that, I was like, wow, that answers a lot of questions, especially on a supercross track.
Yeah, it's the biggest thing is being able to flow around that track. So when someone clips a jump and their hips are tucked, well, now that bike is going to kick up. That's going to push them forward a little bit.
Yep.
Right? And so let's say the down ramp, you get kicked, the down ramp on a 450 kicks me, and I get on the gas, 3 feet down the down ramp because I got kicked a little bit because I tucked and round.
Yep.
Then I can do the triple. Now, somebody that has their hips out, they clip. Well, they're not going to get kicked forward because there's a little bit of a linkage, a little bit of a movement. So they're going to get on the gas maybe with 2 feet before that other guy, and then now here's that quad. Because that's all you need to do something, to jump probably 10 more feet on these 450s is about 2 more feet of horsepower.
Yeah.
Right? So, and then through the whoops and again off the start. You don't see anybody up on the front tucking their butt, really. They have their hips out. And I do this test with everybody. I put them on a motorcycle. I said, take your hands off the bars. Tuck your butt, round your back, and do not let me push you back. I hold them by the chest, and I just push them right back because they have no strength. I say, okay, now I want you to rotate your hips out and bring your chest up. Okay, now don't let me push you back. I can't move them an inch. They're blown away. They're like, holy shit. And I said, well, yeah, you didn't go to the gym. We didn't stick you with steroids. The only thing you did was just use the body properly the way it's been designed to work.
Yep. 100%.
That's all it is. The body has been designed to work in one way. The body is functional in one way, and you cannot change it. It's just like the motorcycle. The motorcycle has not changed from day one, so to speak. Front wheel, rear wheel, engine, handlebars. Yes, the technology has changed massively, but the idea of it's the same. You're not going to do anything different. So the body you cannot change at where it's at its best. Impossible. Impossible.
This explains why Carson Brown can ride a 78 YZ80 so damn good.
Yeah, I mean, I guess. But also, also there's a...
Because in 78, nobody rode those bikes very...
No, so just like the 86 I rode at Loretta's.
Yeah.
Nobody rode like what I'm talking about.
Exactly.
Nobody, but I rode that bike that way, and then I could do things on the motorcycle,
Nobody else could do.
at that point, yeah.
Yeah.
And so it's just progressing, and I feel that this came in at the exact time, because I don't know how I came up with this. I don't know. It just came up. But that's right when the 4-stroke era started.
Got it.
So if the technique didn't change with the progression of the motorcycle, I feel we'd have a lot more crashes, injuries, and deaths than we did. The only time that we had more crashes, injuries, and deaths is when that Liette brace came out.
Yeah.
And really fucked everybody else, because then they made a technique I've never seen ever in motocross. Flat-footed, knees in front of the shoulders, and upper body in the back of the bike. And everybody adopted this thing because most people make their decisions out of fear, but they didn't look at the mechanism that they're putting on their neck. And right, a 3-inch strut, a carbon fiber strut with no movement, resting on what you're trying to protect, your spine. That's the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. And the sport adopted it because David Bailey came up and said, if I wore this, I wouldn't have got hurt. Bullshit, son. Bullshit. You wouldn't have been able to ride the way you've been able to ride. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But why would he say that? Because he got paid. And that's what's wrong with the sport. Is people will push sponsors, push things, give you coupon codes, all these things. They don't care about you. Look, hey, use this, guys. This is the best. This made me so fast. This made me so fit. This made me recover more. You guys should take it. But use my coupon code, and you get a discount. So do they really care about you, or do they care about making money off you?
Yeah.
That's the difference with me. You're never going to see me push some damn coupon code or push a product on you to make money on you. That's why I don't even promote Rhino Power so much. You should know who fucking Rhino Power is.
Yeah.
I don't need to throw it down your throat, and I'm not going to make money off you guys. I want to share with you guys, Yeah. Motocross has been a blessing to me, and it's been a gift to be able to go around the world, to see the most amazing people, meet the most amazing people, race the most amazing countries, this and that. So I was taught when someone gives you a gift, you don't sell it back. You give it away.
You give it away.
And so, yeah, I've lost out probably on millions of dollars, but I've helped the sport, man. Everywhere I go, everybody's like, thank you for what you put out there. Thank you for what you put out there.
Speaking of helping the sport, there is a phone number that you need to give out.
Holy cow, yes I do. Anybody that wants to call and ask a question, that number is 866-492-4449. I should remember it, but again, I've raced motocross for a long time.
That's 866-49-BIG-49.
Okay, you're way better at that than I am.
Well,
That's why you're here.
We are bumping up against a little time constraint here. I know earlier on, let me see if I can reach over here. Oh, where is it at? Let me find this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There we go. Oh, gosh. I know earlier you asked you wanted to hear a song.
Yeah, I don't know. I heard this song coming up here today, and it just brought back memories. Brought back memories. I haven't heard it in a long time, and it's kind of a sweet song, and everybody needs a little love in their life. You know what I mean?
I hear you.
Everybody needs a little love in their life.
It's Tesla.
Love song. Tesla's big right now.
Okay.
They make cars. They make airplanes.
And they play rock music. Ah, you're back.
We are back. I like that song. I played that song quite a bit back in the day. The ladies.
Yeah, that's actually a pretty good song. I haven't heard that in a long
Yeah.
time, and it's funny. You picked Tesla, and I actually know the guitarist for Tesla.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's cool.
That's cool. I've known Frankie for a long time, so
Yeah.
that's kind of funny.
Awesome. Small world, yeah?
Very small world. There's like 6 degrees of separation between everybody. You ever heard that 6 degrees
6
separation?
feet. 6 feet separation.
No, there is
and
6,
COVID.
Yeah, and COVID. But then, have you ever heard the term 6
Yeah,
degrees of
yeah,
separation?
yeah.
So I was working over at KLOS several years ago, and we had Kevin Bacon in the studio. And you've heard of the term 6 degrees of separation from Kevin Bacon. And literally, you know somebody who knows somebody who knows Kevin Bacon.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny.
Yeah, like I say, it's always a small world, right?
It's a very small world. So we ended that last segment, you talking about injuries.
Yep.
And this week we had a really misfortunate injury, and I'll let you kind of just handle that and take it away.
Yeah, Matt had a big injury that kind of surprised me. Again, gold medalist, freestyle, backflips, all this stuff. And then, end of his career, there's just some phenomenon, something that everybody thinks they need to go to Loretta's, Everybody thinks they need to go to Loretta's, and that's not the case of why he got hurt, but just, yeah, he got paralyzed, man. And it's sad. It's sad, just reading his post just kind of almost brought tears to my eyes. And, for me, yeah, I would love to reach out to these guys. I would love to talk to these guys, but I feel kind of foolish, because I was able to walk away from 4 of them, being paralyzed 4 times, laying on the ground and paralyzed neck down, 2 times. Just, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. My life flashed from before my eyes of I'm never going to be able to do this. And just, that's trauma, dude.
Yeah.
It's trauma. I mean, people don't understand what it's like to lay there paralyzed, sit there paralyzed, for a duration of time. And I was able to walk away from it. And now, shit, man, I run the trails every day. I can run. And other parts of my body work really well. So, really well.
Well, you're fortunate. You're fortunate.
Yeah. So, but, it's sad because the sport is so, and that's what's kind of making me, feel a little bit,
Sorry about that. I did not realize that was going to play.
Well, I did. That's okay. That's okay. But it's making me have a little different look on the sport, just like it's so brutal.
Yeah.
It's so brutal, and nobody really gives a shit. And especially the higher ups in the system, they don't give a shit. It's like, okay, we got you, we used you, but now you're paralyzed. You're just like this dirty tear-off flopping on the ground. And then they have, we're all raising money for him. But then after he gets that check, because I've had the same thing with Road to Recovery, and they do a great job.
Yeah.
But it's like, give this money, and then that's done. Then nobody's checking up on you. Nobody's seen how your rehab is. Nobody's seen if you're hooked on drugs. Nobody's seen if you got almost a gun to your head. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, it's kind of a sad thing. And when you go to these races and you just see wheelchair after wheelchair after wheelchair after wheelchair, it's like, holy shit, And, back in the day, I was like, well, hey, man, you picked the sport. You picked the sport. You know the consequences, but now I have a different look at it. It's like, wow, are we really needing to keep trying to be racers? It's like if you finished your career,
yeah,
and you finished it on a note that you can walk around and be healthy and this and that, then fucking be done with it. Don't keep racing at 52 years old, 53 years old like these guys are. Like, kind of keep trying to live, keep that name going.
Yeah.
Yes, I've done it too, but now I look back on it differently. And I talked to my mom the other day about everybody wants me to go to these ride days. Everybody wants me to ride. Hey, why don't you go on this tour? Hey, how about do track day? And I go, Mom, I can't do it. I can't do it. And she's like, well, what do you mean you can't do it? I go, I can't ride. And she's like, well, why can't you ride? I go, because I do not want to get hurt again.
Yeah.
I don't want to get hurt again. I wouldn't be able to live with myself if something happened after experiencing that. And so that is kind of my outlook on it is like let's say a Cincerello, I was going to send him a message. I say, hey, dude, be done with it, man. Be done with it. Don't think you got to come back and do Loretta's. Because when you first retire, it's all cool. I don't have that pressure. His hat, I'm retired and just having fun. Yeah, bitching. That's what it's about, and that's what it is. But pretty soon, that retirement, that just having fun is like, oh my God, this is life? This is what everybody's excited about? Because we're so used to this extreme. We're so used to this energy and doing a sport that nothing can compare to.
Yeah.
There's not a sport on earth that can compare to racing a motorcycle on Supercross at the levels that we have.
Yeah.
Maybe someone rolling around it, okay. But doing what we can do and doing anything you want on a motorcycle, there's no other sport like it. And so after a while, here comes that void. That who am I? Just that complete void.
Yeah.
That's why every rider almost comes back. You see Dungey come back. All these guys. I come back.
I was just thinking of Ryan.
Yeah. So it's because of the void, and
Yeah.
you think the void that you're missing the sport. You're not missing the sport. You're not missing the activity. You're missing the energy that sport brought out of you.
Yeah.
Every day you had something to challenge you, reward you. You had something to push for, something to work for. Big money coming in. Pictures on newspapers, magazines, on TV,
Yeah.
and now it's starting to fade away and it's gone. You're used to that energy, not the sport. Because you see that in basketball, baseball, football, all these guys come back for maybe a season or whatever, and then they retire again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's not the sport that you're addicted to, it's the energy that you were for the last 20 years. And so that's where I think some people can get, kind of lost a little bit.
Is that because they were at the top of their game, that pinnacle where they just want to stay at that pinnacle?
Not necessarily, because I'm going to work with this kid Saturday. His mom called me, and his only goal in life was go to Loretta's, and he didn't make it, and he's so bummed out. He's pissed off, and I'm like, really?
Really?
You're so bummed out you didn't go to some circus? You didn't go to some circus? What happened after the circus? Now what? Now what? You're still in the same spot. But the bad part, you're going to go, only if I would have got a better start. Only if my bike would have worked better. Only if I didn't get tired. Only if. And then you're going to go back again. And you're going to go back again. It's like a drug, But this thing, so it's not if you're at the top of the sport. It's just if you've done the sport.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But there's nowhere in the sport for after anybody's done riding, racing, or injury to fall back on, to talk to maybe give some advice, to find out that other people feel like you do, top riders feel like you do.
Almost like a support group is what you're
Yeah, there's nothing. There's something to get you in the sport so we can make money off you.
Yeah.
There's something to make you great so then that, you can perform and entertain everybody. But then after all that's done, there's nothing.
Yeah.
There's nothing. There's no rider union. There's nothing, because the higher ups in the system does not give a shit about you. They just care about if they're making dollars, and their dollars have to keep progressing or stay the same.
Oh,
I know them all. I know everybody in the sport that are those higher ups and things, and that's all they're. And you can see through them now. They used to be friends. They used to be this, but I can see through them now, and it's a sad thing.
It's sad, and it's kind of pathetic on a level that they're taking advantage of the people that are literally making them millions.
Yeah, 100%. They don't give a shit. And then what's happening? The prices are going up and up and up and up.
Oh yeah.
And they're going to start seeing this year. I think you're going to start seeing motocross start to die, because people can't afford it. People cannot afford it because the way society's going is that they're raping you left and right.
Yeah.
So everything's going up, but salaries aren't going up as a gas station owner, as a worker, as a construction guy, whatever. Everybody's still making the same, but everything is going up in price.
Have you bought race fuel lately?
So then now motocross, if they stop selling as many parts, tires, this and that, what do? They start raising their price.
Yeah.
And then the gates aren't going to get filled as much. So what are these people going to do? Start raising the prices and adding more races, like these amateur guys, these amateur promoters.
Yeah.
And there's one amateur promoter that is just raping everybody. And it's sad. There's a system that when you go to qualify for the circus, that you have to pay an extra amount of money for each class.
Yeah.
And nobody's even there. The circus isn't even there, but you're paying an extra fee to go there, and it's costing people probably another, $300 a day for nothing. And it's just a way to make money. Yeah. And it's sad, man. I don't care. It's sad.
100%.
And because I support I support the sport. I don't care who I offend. I don't care who I lose as a friend to support the sport that I have loved. Yeah. I do not care. I will not watch my mouth. I will not, cover my face. Whatever it is that people have to do to protect a sponsor, to protect a persona, to protect a job, to protect a paycheck. Nobody fucking owns me. So that's why I will speak my mind about the sport, because I care about the million people that are doing it, not just the one person that's fucking running it.
Once again, I can honestly agree 1,000 bazillion% with you on that.
Yeah.
And that's why you're here at the 49, by the way.
Damn straight, son, and we're live.
That we are live. This is as live gets. I mean, we're sitting in the control room tonight, and not to tell everybody, our little scary secrets, but sometimes you pre-record the show. Sometimes we pre-record the show, and we obviously post it in the podcast, and it plays at 7 o'clock on Big 49. But tonight is a rare instance because we're doing a live radio show.
Well, I think from here on out it's going to be live. I had to get my feet wet, understand live radio, and then also live works in different ways. Had a bug and had to do some traveling and stuff like that. So, we got to work around it. But from here on out, I want to do, like we talked about, and we plan to do live
radio
almost 100% of the time.
And part of that live element, obviously, is telling people the things not necessarily that they think they're going to hear, but the things they need to hear.
Yeah. Some people might not know they need to hear it.
Yeah.
And some people don't really want to hear it. But I'm a person that speaks the truth.
One of our other radio stations that we have in our group is called Crack. Okay. Crack. And it's in North Hollywood. It's over at it's the Crack Studios, and we have a live performance stage. And this is going somewhere, by the way.
Yeah.
I am at the Crack stage last Saturday doing a live band situation with James Hetfield's son. Castor Hetfield is an amazingly cool kid, by the way.
Okay.
Awesome kid.
Yeah.
And we were recording and mixing live his band called Bastardate. And one of the guys that's part of his tour group saw the Big 49 sweatshirt that I wear. And he asked me, he goes, dude, are you into moto? And I was like, yeah, it's kind of my life.
Yeah,
actually.
it's kind of my deal.
It's kind of my deal.
Yeah.
And we got to talking back and forth about certain things. And he started asking all of the questions. And I just told him, I said, listen, Ryan Hughes, every Wednesday on Big 49, live, unscripted. And he goes, dude, I'm such a Rhino fan. I absolutely love that guy. I am going to listen forever and ever and ever.
Well, that's cool. I got James Hetfield's son listening to me. Yeah, bro.
Yeah, Castor Hetfield's a good dude.
I met his dad one time in the airport, and he was such a down-to-earth, just cool dude. Dude, he's the lead singer of fucking Metallica. Selling out Wembley Stadium. And he was just talking to me like just nobody, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
It was awesome. It was a good dude.
It's kind of funny. I've always said that you can learn more about a person based on meeting their children than not necessarily meeting them.
Yeah, you don't ever want to meet your hero like we've talked about.
Exactly.
Because he won't be your hero the next day. A lot of them.
When I met Castor and the rest of the band, all of those kids are just so grounded, down to earth, good dudes. Just
that's cool.
Amazingly nice kids, really love rock music, really love playing it. But that was just part of the story. The story I wanted to get to was the fact that you had a fan in his crew.
Well, at least I have one fan. One fan on Earth.
Not just one fan.
I'll take that.
He is like moto to the core.
Yeah.
He loves it to death. And by the way, it's because you say the things that need to be said.
Well, that's why I've always made sure I didn't have a sponsor. Made sure I didn't work for anybody that I had to have a paycheck. And I don't really care what people think about me. You know what I mean? I know who I am.
It's a powerful...
I have complete trust in myself, and I don't need anybody to direct me, lead me, save me, show me.
Yeah.
No. I'll figure it out on my fucking own. You know what I mean? And I'll get lost. I'll hit the dead end. I'll get bruised and bumped and scraped in this, but when it's over, I'm going to be able to tell you exactly how it was done, and not by regurgitating somebody else's way.
Oh, it's your
I'm
story.
not a regurgitator.
It's totally your story.
No way, man. And the people that just want to regurgitate other people's way or other people's this and that,
so
those are the just-in-casers to me.
I mean, I went on social media, and it's interesting that you've been talking about injuries and all of this going on, and obviously we had that one injury report, which was devastating with the whole paralyzation, because it's all touched our lives in one way or another. I have a family member who's a paraplegic because he was a factory Honda test rider.
Yeah, I have 10 friends I could probably call right now that are paralyzed.
All paralyzed.
Yeah.
So we've all lived it. It's touched all of us, and it's something that doesn't get recognized, that needs to be recognized.
And that's why I feel that, that's why I'm so blunt. Okay. Because I was blessed to not be in a position like that. So, speak up now then.
Yep.
Speak up. If I don't speak up, then I'm just lying to everybody.
Yep.
Right? I was blessed to not be in this situation, so you know what? Then use it. Use it and speak it. So that's what it is.
Two things. Number one, and I'm not going to tell you who told me this.
Yeah.
But I am going to say that I've heard things about Loretta Lynn's as far as the track is concerned, that it's not that spectacular of a track.
Nah, because the thing is what's happening in motocross is that they just cookie cutter. All the nationals are the same. They make all these little stupid bumps on the inside, all these little things, and but it makes that one line. Anytime you have something on the inside, and all these little bumps and rollers and things like that, you make it one line because people can't cross and cut over and open things up. It makes it one line because, I don't know, because anybody in this sport that's running it has no vision at all. They do not want to do anything outside the box. It's like they're so boring and so just programmed to do the same thing to make the same amount of dollars all the time that they don't even make anything new with the tracks. The outdoor nationals, let's make an outdoor national with no fucking jumps one time and see what happens. No jumps.
No jumps.
No jumps. Like Unadilla used to be the best track on earth. Then here comes the system come in and saying, oh, we got to make it like this. Now it's the most dangerous and kind of the worst track on earth.
Yeah.
Because it's so fast. It's so they took the flair out of it. They took the flair out of it. Yeah. You know, like you go Indy or Formula One. They have night races.
Yep.
They have races in the city, and they have old, legendary tracks.
Yeah.
Same with MotoGP. Motocross, where is anything new? Where is anything different? Where is anything unique? You know what I mean? Yes, the Super Motocross is coming up, and they got into the super speedways, which I think is good. And that's where I feel like Supercross could almost be going, because sometimes the 450 is almost too fast for that little arena. So that is one jump forward, but then they just added more races, which is a step backwards.
Yeah.
When you're talking about a sport that's so dangerous.
Yeah.
All right. So that's my whole thing is let's have something that's a little different. Let's have a national with no jumps.
It's a great idea.
Why not? And just see what happens. I guarantee you probably see way better racing.
Oh.
Way better racing than putting all these little bumps and all these little jumps and all these huge triples and all this stuff in there. It just makes racing too one line.
100%.
It really does.
Out of all the tracks in Southern California that you've ridden at, that you've wanted to train at, what's one of your favorite tracks that you ever rode at in Southern California?
Carlsbad was the best.
Okay.
Carlsbad was the best because it didn't have any jumps. A couple little drop-offs and this and that. It was rough. It was gnarly. It was hard packed. But Carlsbad was old school motocross. And if you took these motorcycles now and rode that track, oh my God, would it be fun? Holy shit, would it be fun? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I don't know. I'm just the type of person that always likes to look ahead.
Yeah.
I don't like to stay in the rear view mirror.
I think you just.
That's why when people come up to me and say, "Oh, Rhino, you're my hero," and this and that, I'm like, dude, you're looking at me 25 years ago. You know what I mean? Let's talk about who I am now. And if I don't register in your mind now, well, then I'm irrelevant.
I actually think that, by the way, the show's called Looking Ahead with Ryan Hughes. And the fact is, you just hit on something I think could be the next huge thing, which is a motocross track without massive jumps.
Yeah. Why?
And
why do we need all these big jumps in motocross?
Well,
As you see, nobody's passing over these big jumps.
No.
Have you ever see anybody pass over Larocco's Leap unless the guy didn't jump it?
No.
No. You know what I mean? So it's like, I don't know, and just, and yes, the jumps are exciting and this and that, but racing's more exciting.
The speed
battling side by side, back and forth, that's what people want to see. They don't want to see this one line choo-choo train thing.
Yeah.
And so I just see, it's almost like, because again, where did the people that are running the nationals come from? Amateur, right? So it's almost like they're bringing these amateur ideas or these amateur track layouts to the nationals, and I don't think that's correct.
Yeah.
We need. I don't know. It's just what it is.
No, I once again, 100%. I can see a whole classification of motocross racing just happening without that, but it would keep the racing and the speed up.
Yeah.
As far as you would see way more speed.
Well, because again, you could come outside
Yep.
and then bring it back inside. You can sweep out, and this way you can cross and change lines.
Yep.
Which Unadilla used to be.
Yep.
Right now, it's just funneled in because I'm not going to cross and pass when I'm doing 17. You know, doing 100 miles an hour,
Yeah.
and or I have this 300-foot jump that I gotta, jump.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know. I feel that a track that didn't have so many obstacles would be much more raceable.
Now on the pro circuit with Unadilla and Red Bud, all of those tracks, what was your favorite to ride back then?
Unadilla was my favorite just
Okay.
because it was unique. We
Yeah.
got there, the grass was 3 foot tall. The grass was 3 foot tall. There wasn't a bunch of jumps, and
Okay.
the bumps that came up were the bumps that have been there for 20 years. You know what I mean? Just
Yep.
the track just evolved that way. You could crisscross, you could go this way, that way, and it was a gnarly track, and that's what I really, really liked.
That was
But
fast.
now they take that out. I think that'd be amazing if the first that national, when it came on TV, the whole track was green. And then as the race went, you see this grass start going away and these lines come up, and then the dirt was, oh my God. I mean, it was like
Buttery.
like you 20 tear-offs a lap because it was just like fluff. Now it's just rock and hard, and
Yeah.
because they took that top soil off that
Yeah.
didn't, because they use it once a year, so a year later nature would
Yeah.
start to bring its own dirt back up and stuff like that. You know what I mean? From the rain, from the snow, from all these things, and so now that's gone, and
It's like MXGP is now.
yeah, MXGP is kind of same thing. They just followed America, just big old jumps and big old this and big old that.
I'm just talking about the topsoil element though.
Yeah, because when I rode the GPs, they didn't have all these big jumps.
Okay.
It was sort of just the natural, the way the track was laid out. Yeah, they didn't do any prep, and that sucked, but it was just like you could race.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
Now on the two strokes,
Mm-hmm.
on the 252 strokes, do you think that it lended more towards that style of racing versus the four strokes and how fast they are now?
No, not necessarily. I mean, because you can cut and dive and turn and cut across, and you can do anything on a four-stroke that you could do on a two-stroke, just not as fast and maybe not as big a jump.
Got it.
You know?
So we are on our fifth week now of
shit.
of the Ryan Hughes Hour of Power, looking forward, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, we keep putting names on it.
the
baby.
name that keeps changing. And I pulled a couple of little things out of social media today. I was looking around at social media, and one of the things I pulled was I watched some of the videos that were posted from our previous weeks.
Yeah.
And I read some of the comments.
Okay.
And I thought, this is a point in the whole situation which was kind of funny, because one of the comments that was made was, Ryan, you are perfect. You are awesome. I love the show.
Yep.
But it would have been better if you would have had Weege or another known host with you versus Moto Man over at Big 49. And I thought that was kind of funny because I
Well,
was like,
I'll tell you right now, I don't work for owned people.
yeah, 100%.
I don't work with owned people because owned people have to keep their mouth shut. Owned people have to say what other people want them to say. I don't work with owned people. No, you're raw, you're relevant, and you don't give a shit what people think. Those are the people I work with,
100%.
because that's what this world needs. Everybody is so suffocated by saying what they want to say, thinking what they want to think, acting the way they want to act, because they're so worried about what people are going to think, say about them.
Yeah.
And so I don't. That has no interest to me. No interest to me. If we get no ratings, if we get nobody following us, I don't give a shit. As long as we're raw, as long as we're real, as long as we're talking about things that should be talked about and not pampered, cookie cuttered, and protected.
100%.
Just so I can save a job. So just like any of these other top guys that are in the announcing things now, they're just owned. They're owned people.
Yeah.
I don't care shit. I don't care how many fucking championships you won, son. You're owned. And you have to do what that person above you says.
Yeah.
Nah, not me.
As I said, I read it and I thought it was funny. Another thing that I read in social media today was today, I guess Ken Rocks and Cooper Webb are both back on their bike, both of them previously coming back from injury.
Yeah.
Now, this is something you and I touched on before with that 450 class, and they're kind of getting a little long in the tooth right now as far as age-wise.
Yeah.
And we know the longer you go, the more injury-prone you are. At what point would you recommend a Ken Roxon or a Cooper Webb walking away kind of like an Adam Cianciarulo did?
I can't answer that because that comes to them.
Okay.
You know, it's.
I'm just thinking. Like
the thing is if you lose the fun,
yep,
then you need to walk away.
Okay.
You know, if you lose the fun, need to walk away. If you are doing it for the money, and again that interest, that motivation isn't there, then you need to walk away. Right? Because it's hard to swallow knowing you should stop, knowing you should maybe hang it up, and then now you're injured.
Okay.
Right? So I think it's kind of hard to swallow. I applaud AC. I really do. Because he could have, he could have finished out the year.
Yep.
And got another team to sponsor him the next year.
Yeah.
Made some money, this and this and this and this. And ended up being, beat up the rest of his life, which he's going to be. Because he already has been, but
yeah.
This sport will spit you out, man, and you're gonna be even though you're not, I guess paralyzed or critically injured or whatever, you're gonna have problems the rest of your life. You're gonna have issues that you're gonna deal with the rest of your life, like I do. Like a lot of my day is working, just making my body feel good, because of all the injuries and and how brutal I was to myself. And there's been many times I looked in the mirror and just said, what the fuck are you doing, man?
Yeah.
What are you doing to yourself? And so I just, there's nobody can tell them when to walk away and you're not doing it right. And again, Cooper Webb, no, you should still do it because you almost won the championship.
Yeah.
Ken Roxon, okay, maybe you should think about it a little bit. But if you still love it, man, then do it.
How many of the riders do you think that are at that high level right now are doing it just purely for the money because it's what I do? Versus love. Versus, hey, I'd put this bike in the back of my truck and go to a track and ride anyway.
I think probably people more in the back of the pack are doing that way.
Okay.
Let's say, I would say even like Dean Wilson.
Yeah.
Doing it just kind of for the money. Going. I love Dean. Dean's awesome. I love Dean. We're great friends and this and that. But, hey,
Dean,
I can't. The truth is the truth.
Exactly.
And you go, going to Brazil and that. But also it's smart. Hey, you can ride people that aren't as good. You don't have to ride as hard. You can make a big boatload of money. That's kind of, it's smart also. And then that's another way you can do it too. Instead of going racing Supercross all the time. Well, now Dean, go live off your name. And go to these places that'll pay you big show-up money, and you don't have to ride that hard. The competition's so down.
Yeah.
Because you're, in Brazil, you race Supercross in Brazil, you're so much ahead of everybody.
Oh,
now, if you raced outdoors in Brazil, you'd have competition.
Okay.
Guaranteed, because there's good riders there, and that's what they do all the time is outdoor.
Got it.
Right. So you'd have a lot more competition. So, there was a way of doing it is that way instead of just going, okay, I'm going to ride Supercross again, and the team that you're on is kind of going down and down each year, and your places are getting back and back each year, and your paycheck is going down and down each year, but you're just hanging on for dear life just to make some extra money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Is it just because of the rush? Is it because of you go through that because of exactly what you were saying? You go through it because you want to stay on that high. You want to be on the edge. It's so addictive.
I think you just become numb to pain.
Okay.
You become numb to injury.
Okay.
And you become almost so tough that you just don't know how to not do it.
Got it.
And it's not being, oh, look at me. He didn't have a video camera on him. He didn't have a podcast watching him do it. It's just that motocross makes you fucking tough.
It does.
And if you aren't, that's why you don't make it.
Yeah.
So the guys at the top, dude, they are tough. I'll put them in front of anybody, any football player, any boxer, any bull rider, anything. Yeah, they might get their butt kicked or this and this, but the toughness of what they can do going through injury and it doesn't even phase them and how they can come back without even missing a beat.
Yep.
That's called toughness. And you're either born with it or you get kind of programmed with it.
Yeah.
And so those top guys are the toughest athletes on earth, man. And again, I guess they're the fittest athletes on earth. It's been scientifically proven. But the toughest from that, you can get injured, not even beat an eye in it, put surgery on me. When can I get surgery? The next day, they rush to it to get it done. And then they're right back on the motorcycle as fast as they can without even missing a beat. And they're right back onto, that speed.
Yeah.
Look at Kenny.
Yeah.
Look at Kenny and his arm injury. Holy shit, man.
Yeah.
And what did he do? Just surgery after surgery after surgery after surgery after surgery. And then once he could race, boom, he was right back on that motorcycle. And that's called fucking tough.
Yeah.
And no other sport is going to breed that. No way. No way.
100%. And guess what else is tough?
We're done.
You just cleared an hour, dude.
Yeah.
You cleared the entire hour of power right here, and it seemed like it was only 10 minutes ago.
That's what we do. That's what happens when we have fun.
Especially when you're good at what you do. What's that number again for people that want to call in next week?
I always have to look at
right
it.
here.
Yeah, no, I always have to look at it. 866-492-4449.
Okay.
Next week, hopefully some people will call so I can answer some damn questions.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We need some
And
participants.
start worrying me if people don't want to call in. You know?
Exactly. We need some participants that want to hang out and talk to you.
Yeah, because I want to answer other people's questions. I don't want to sometimes just talk about what I want to talk about. I want to answer other people's questions and talk to them and interact with those people.
Well, we have
That's fun.
We have the technology.
Let's fucking do it.
All right. You've been listening to the Ryan Hughes Hour of Power here, right here on Big 49.
Peace, my friend.
You're listening to Big49Radio.com, Los Angeles.